Welcome back. It's now time for us to get into the politics now. With exactly 90 days to the polls, the countdown officially begins right now. And politicians, there is no time left, so to speak. And today on Eye on Politics, I just want us to take a look at some of the stories that, made it to the headlines over the past 1 week and what is continuing to unfold. One of them is the intrigue in choosing the running mate. That is now, what is now much publicized is Kalonzo Musyoka and all other candidates from 8 to 11, and now bring a lot of heat as far as the choosing of a running mate for Raila Odinga is concerned, as well as Kenya Kwanza. But for Kenya Kwanza, they're saying that they have put their house in order. What about One Kenya Alliance and Azimio la Umoja? All right, with me in studio, I have got Michael Agwanda, who is joining us for the first time this year. It's been quite a long time. Karibu sana.
Asante.
I don't know if it's a pleasure to, or you're independent-minded.
It's Victor, it's good to be here again.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's because of any reason. I think it's just because of
I've never invited
other opportunities out there that you get and you become so busy. And also ensuring that you work hard to feed your children.
Yes.
That's the most basic thing we can do out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
As well as Wakili Kevin Katisya, who is joining us so that we talk matters politics. Mwano, wamukata.
Nice of you, Victor. Asante sana.
Welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be back here.
Absolutely.
Yes, asante.
Karibu sana. So, gentlemen, the race is on. 90 days and counting now begins today. And as I said, politicians, hakuna time imebaki. It's over. So whatever you're trying to do right now, it's either you're going to make it or it's going to break you at the end of the day. But first things first, we have got several names here. We have got Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Peter Kenneth, Wycliffe Oparanya, Sabina Chege, Hassan Joho, Peter Monya, Charity Ngilu, Lee Kinyanjui, Stephen Tarus, as well as Gideon Moi. Out of all these ladies and gentlemen, there is one name that is still in the lips of many, Kalonzo Musyoka. Starting with you, Michael. Why Kalonzo and why not Kalonzo?
Good morning, viewers. Kalonzo Musyoka is a household name. He's been the vice president of Honorable Mwai Kibaki. God rest his soul in peace. Kalonzo Musyoka has been this designate vice president of Honorable Raila Odinga. And Kalonzo Musyoka has also worked with Raila Odinga almost in the main quest for his presidency. He also commands a huge following in the Eastern Province. And therefore, it is easier for him to be seen not as a man coming with the votes only, but also a man that is also experienced and has been in that position. Remember that Kalonzo Musyoka also has a vision to lead this country as a president. The main reason why Kalonzo Musyoka wants to be the deputy president like nobody else and no any other time is he's looking at the age of Raila Odinga and he's seeing that if I become his deputy president, something happens that he exits. Even if it is just for 5 years, Kalonzo Musyoka will stand up to have a golden opportunity to be the president from a different community other than the two communities that have led this country since the independence. And for that reason, I think it is important that we understand where Kalonzo is coming from.
Yes.
And a struggle for this country too. He's been in the political space for many, many years, almost over 3 decades now. And he's a gentleman. He loves this country. And he wants to move this country from one place to the other. Remember, that anybody who runs for any position in this country or in the political arena has a reason why they're running. And if you ask them why they're running, they will tell you there's a gap. This individual that is serving as one or the other is not meeting this gap. And for that reason, I think if I become the president, I will be able to do things differently. With that kind of vision, with that kind of quest, with that desire, and to look at things differently, and also from within, because he served in the government for many, many years. You know, he has something that he wants to offer this country. Last but not least, is Kalonzo Musyoka has a right and is mandated, you know, by the votes of the people, if they are given an opportunity to become the president. He holds all the qualities that a presidential candidate in this country will be required with. And therefore, he has a right to run for that position, and he has a right to ask for that position. And he's not just asking for it. Right. We saw that he came up, you know, more recently, and when he came up, he decided to change the name that was there before from Azimio la Umoja to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance. That simply means that he holds some strength, a strength to a point where he can sit down and say, gentlemen, I disagree with this. If you're going to work on it together, if we're going to be part of it together, then we have to change this so that it's inclusive of all of us. And
but even before that, it was a struggle to bring the two names together, the One Kenya, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance. It was a real struggle. He took his time before accepting that offer.
But you see, at the end of the day, it was done.
Okay, why not?
The people on the table said, I think it is important. Let's listen to Kalonzo Musyoka. And they made the name change. And to me, that was a plus. Yeah. Why not Kalonzo Musyoka? Is that what you're asking?
Exactly, yes.
Why not Kalonzo Musyoka is probably not a question we want to ask today. Because the person who is going to make the ultimate final decision is Honorable Right Honorable
The committee
Raila
will just
Amolo
recommend.
Odinga. The committee can recommend. Right. But at the end of the day, a president will want a deputy president or a vice president that he can work with. We've seen what has happened between the president, you know, Kenyatta and William Ruto, his deputy. We've seen the struggle. We've seen the competition that came way earlier. We've seen the antagonistic, you know, involvement of running government to a point basically where the president is not seeing eye to eye with the deputy president. I don't think any rightful mind who wants to be a president of Republic of Kenya will want such an individual to be his deputy. And that brings me to the point where perhaps too early to look into in this discussion. All I am seeing is Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka going to the media and talking about his deputy president position in public. A question I want to ask him today is, when he was negotiating for these changes, who did he go to? The changes of the name. When he was negotiating to be part of Azimio la Umoja, who did he go to? He went to President Uhuru Kenyatta. They had a discussion with Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. It was not so much in the media, but we knew that they were doing things, and they were having meetings and meetings and meetings that culminated into these changes. If he's deciding to go public about it, the fundamental question, therefore, that we'll ask Victor is he still talking to the president? And is he still talking to Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga? If he's not talking to them about this position, or if they've told him something to the contrary, then he's wasting his time going to the media.
Or chances are that probably whatever they discussed behind the scenes did not get implemented. But that is a story probably we'd like to interrogate further. But Kevin, why Kalonzo and why not Kalonzo? I mean, it's for the last couple of weeks, you know, is him or not? Why Kalonzo Musyoka? I would want us to go very quickly, just to, you know, on all the candidates, because we have got a number of them, but we are focusing on Kalonzo Musyoka, but later on we'll talk about these other candidates as well. But why Kalonzo Musyoka?
Thank you, Victor, for that question. And I must agree with my senior Michael on the fact that if you look at all those running mates, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is the most qualified candidate to assist the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance presidential candidate to win the elections. Having worked with the Honorable Kalonzo before as his assistant, and I also currently work with him in his presidential secretariat, I can tell you for sure, and I agree with Michael, that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka fits all the criteria of being not even the second in command, but the number one in command in this country. If you look at the factors which are being considered by the selection panel, for example, we should look at somebody who can deliver votes to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance. Secondly, look at his credentials. Yeah, having served as Kibaki's vice president in 2007 up to 2013. You remember in 2002 he also worked with Raila and Kibaki in forming the Rainbow government. Yeah, he has worked with Raila before. He has been a senior politician in this country, and all those years he has served as a leader. You have never heard of any corruption scandal or any manner of scandal associated with him. So when it comes to integrity, leadership integrity, he fits all those qualifications. When it comes to delivering votes to Azimio, he also has the capacity to deliver votes to Azimio. But what we are currently seeing is politics, whereby some people who are opposed to him are playing politics. And if, for example, you look at the three company governors, for example, who have always been opposed to him. And you know, when they signed the coalition agreement at KBC, immediately thereafter, you saw the three company governors going to the media and say, you know, we have been sidelined. And you know, Raila, in order to manage them, because those governors managed to also lobby other coalition parties so as to push Honorable Raila, so that they can also be considered in decision making. So Honorable Raila, to manage them, he had to tell them that don't worry, we'll add some positions for you in the council, you can come and sit, in a way to manage them. But Honorable Raila himself knows that the person who will help him win the presidency is none other than Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka.
Is it about the name or the numbers?
Both. Kalonzo Musyoka's name is a national name. Anybody in this country knows who Kalonzo Musyoka is. If you go to Turkana now and mention Kalonzo, everybody knows Kalonzo. And also the qualification. Because, you know, we're looking at somebody who has been to a level of a vice president in this country. It is not easy. We are looking at somebody who has worked with Raila in 2013 and 2017, and they managed to get so many votes. In fact, according to some of us, we believe in 2013 and 2017 they won. But of course there were other factors, and we respect those factors. And we believe now that Uhuru's Jubilee is on board. Because you see, if we maintain the way it was before Kalonzo and Raila, and they worked together in 2013 and they got so many votes, now having the backup of Jubilee, I believe should be a clean sweep. And you see, Victor, I'm also seeing some hypocrisy by Jubilee members who are always, of course, trying to push the president into making sure that the running mate comes from Mount Kenya. The president was very clear. At some point he said that the presidency of this country will not be an affair of two communities, the Kalenjins and the Kikuyus. He was very clear. What does that mean? Inclusivity. Yes, he meant that he is ready to have other communities in the government, and he said that when you saw Wiper and Jubilee signing the cooperation agreement, they discussed how they can work together. And in fact, Jubilee said that so long as Wiper is in government, it can be there to represent their interest. So when you see the likes of Sabina Chege going out there and talking all manner of evils against Wiper and the Wiper party leader, we wonder whose brief are they holding?
As politicians, they say that's a friendly fire.
Exactly, that's friendly fire. But I think they are also portraying the president as not sincere in whatever he says. And Victor, as I conclude, I think it's important for us to note that the issue of running mate is very core. And from what Baiko has said,
it's quite emotive.
Very emotive.
Why is it quite emotive at this particular point?
Because it will determine who wins the presidency of this country. The running mate who Raila will pick or who Ruto will pick will determine if they win or lose. If you look even at the opinion polls, Raila and Ruto are on a neck-to-neck situation. And it will depend on which running mate they will pick. And you see when you see Wiper leaders saying that it is Kalonzo, no Kalonzo, no Raila.
Yes.
They have their right to say that. Because you see, Honorable Kalonzo represents a large following. More than almost 3 million votes is not a small number. Yeah, and if they push him and they tell him it is either you or nothing else, we have to respect their views.
Yes.
When you see these other smaller parties coming together, of course we respect them. Yeah, but they need to know that. They should look at the bigger picture. Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka formed a very formidable coalition, the One Kenya Alliance. And I agree with Victor, with Michael, when he said that there is a reason why Azimio is in the name of the coalition. Why the name was changed from Azimio la Umoja to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya. There's a very big reason.
But then yes. You know, Michael, we might not understand why, because the deal was signed and deposited with them and their trustees. We might not know the details, but then somebody would argue that Kalonzo Musyoka would want to give a chance to other people. He's been the vice president before, so this chance should be given to somebody else apart from him. Do you believe it's such an idea for him to, to take?
I am not holding brief for Kalonzo Musyoka. Neither am I empathize with this situation.
Yes.
I just think that we are a very dishonest society. Even where we know very well that an individual is capable, an individual is able, where we know very well that an individual has served this country very well, where we know very well that an individual is also having an interest of becoming the president of the Republic of Kenya and is fought very, very hard for it, like Kalonzo Musyoka, that we still want to play tribal politics. This has to stop.
Yeah.
This has to stop. The most qualified person in this place, as we've said, with my friend here, is Kalonzo Musyoka. And I'm not holding brief for him. I'm looking at the votes he can bring. When you say that this thing has to go to Central Province, what you're actually saying is after Raila, we want the presidency in Central Province. And that should be very, very, very clear. I am not saying that it's wrong to go back to the Central Province. But then it negates the inclusivity idea that Azimio la Umoja was coming up with. Remember, this Azimio la Umoja was stemmed from the BBI constitution that was supposed to be changed. If that never took place, then we have to take another tangent. That's what the law requires, to either amend it, but before we amend it, who are the right people that we have around us? So I really think that this discussion, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka has realized that the discussion he's been having with President Uhuru Kenyatta doesn't seem to be going in the right way that they from where they began, because they began very well.
Is the feeling should change or something?
They called him a brother, and if there was a stalemate between him and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who will run to the president, and it will be resolved. Now, why is it that now the president is having a cold shoulder on the matter of Azimio, and more specifically the deputy president, in the interest of Kalonzo Musyoka? Let's look at the individuals that have been put out there. Can you compare Sabina Chege, for example, with Kalonzo Musyoka? And let's look at Honorable Gideon Moi. Has all the qualification, but he has never been interested in this position other than the presidency. He's never been interested until the other day when the roping is naming it. Honorable Ngilu, a brilliant woman, no doubt about it. I mean, she will serve in any capacity she's able to, because she's a governor. She has all the qualification, and the law allows her to run for any position she wants. But honestly speaking, will you compare Honorable Ngilu with Kalonzo Musyoka? Any day, Ngilu have said, this time you need to get it right, and has always been speaking about Kalonzo Musyoka. I've never drummed support for Kalonzo Musyoka like this, but I think the level of dishonesty in our political arena in this country must stop, so that people are able to look at individuals with their potential and say, this individual is able. Now, when it comes to this select committee, that is here,
committee, right?
Honestly speaking, there are a number of people there that you'll be wondering, do they even have the capacity to interview Kalonzo Musyoka for that reason? A man who has been a deputy president, do you mean that his star has been dwindling so much that he must be re-interviewed again? And if the star has been dwindling so much, why not tell him that, you know, gentlemen, we don't want to embarrass you coming here. We don't want you to come here. But we've realized that your star, your political star, has dwindled so much, and therefore we will not pick you. Why do you want to shame him by saying, oh, you know, I don't want us to blame the president. Neither do we want to blame Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. We want to put a middle person here called a select committee, and then we'll blame them for having not have done the right thing.
So, in other words, you're trying to say that Raila Odinga is like in a straight jacket between a rock and a hard place.
And unfortunately, Victor, I have to say this. Give Raila Amolo Odinga a chance to elect his deputy president. If he says it's Kalonzo, let Raila Amolo Odinga carry that load. But don't give us some guys here and say, oh, they're the ones who are going to decide for us. Ultimately, he'll be the one to decide. And therefore, taking us round and round and round is not what we want.
I'd want to interrogate the dangers of the select committee, which was picked, the 7-member committee, and if Raila decides to pick somebody else apart from Kalonzo Musyoka, what would be the end game? And somebody would argue that the other side of, Kenya Kwanza was trying to push Kalonzo Musyoka so that Raila Odinga can pick Kalonzo Musyoka, and now Central Kenya can be left open for them to pick however much they want. Okay, we'll be discussing that when we come back after this particular break. Today, it's countdown, official countdown, and we just want to, understand the intrigues of choosing the running mate as far as this is concerned. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back with more after this. And welcome back. It's still getting hotter. Michael Agwanda saying that, Kalonzo Musyoka is the right person to hold that mantle. And I have Michael Agwanda and Kevin Katisya in studio. Kevin, take it away. As we talk about the issue of Kalonzo Musyoka, what's your take?
My take is that, and I will reiterate what I said earlier, and also echo what Michael Agwanda said, that Kalonzo Musyoka is the best running mate candidate to Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And the question you asked whether he can give a chance to someone else, he has done that before, several times. In fact, he was a worthy presidential contender, very worthy presidential candidate. And in the interest of selflessness, and also he said, I want to sacrifice my ambitions so as to ensure that this country gets correct leadership. And you saw what he said in Jacaranda when after they signed the Azimio coalition agreement. Yeah, and he said, from my heart, with a clean heart, I support Raila for the third time. So the issue of whether he can give the chance to somebody else, and the issue of whether, if he is not chosen, what next. And I think, Victor, we must also appreciate the fact that several politicians, and especially those in ODM and some in Jubilee, are politicizing this issue for no reason, when they should know that for Raila to win, he needs a worthy candidate, running mate who can support him. So in my opinion, if in Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, in the governing council, the President Uhuru Kenyatta is the chairman of that council, that automatically means Mount Kenya is fully represented. And believe you me, even though I have not seen the power sharing agreement, I believe Mount Kenya has a larger share, because Jubilee has a larger share in the Azimio government. Yes. Therefore, the issue of what next, I think, and you have not heard Honorable Kalonzo discuss on what next. Of course, when he is being attacked by some ODM and Jubilee members, you don't expect his troops to be silent. In fact, you have seen his troops also defending him.
Kevin, in fact, from this list, if we talk about Mount Kenya, we have got Martha Karua.
Yes.
We have got Peter Kenneth, Sabina Chege.
Yes.
Peter Munya.
Yes.
Yes. So we have got 4 candidates from Mount Kenya.
Yes.
based on what President Kenyatta said the other day,
yes,
that, and in the spirit of BBI, whatever they're trying to push, the case of inclusivity.
Yes.
The question is, what if Raila Odinga decided to pick somebody outside Mount Kenya? What would be the biggest risk in him winning or clinching the seat?
Of course, the scenario and the perception being given by these leaders from Mount Kenya is that for Raila to be able to manage to take a large chunk of the Mount Kenya votes,
yes,
he must name his deputy to be from Mount Kenya. That's what they are trying to say. And if Raila, for example, decides to pick either of those, and we must also be alive to the fact that Kenya Kwanza has seriously penetrated Mount Kenya. UDA has seriously penetrated Mount Kenya. Yeah, of course, we have all the faith that President Uhuru Kenyatta would deliver Mount Kenya votes to Azimio. We have that, all that trust. But if Jubilee thinks that that is not enough, they should tell us why. If they still think, apart from the president being the chairman of Azimio, they also need a running mate, let them tell us why. Don't they believe that the president can deliver these votes?
Yeah.
So that they insist that there must be a running mate. I think it is high time, and I say this with all humility and respect to people from Mount Kenya, they should also try to avoid being selfish. Yeah, the president himself said we have to ensure inclusivity in our government, and he said it is not right for two communities to be ruling this country since independence. And that's why he said with a clean heart he supports Raila Odinga. So I believe in the interest of ensuring, and those who are genuine and they want Raila to win, even the likes of Governor Ngilu, even Governor Kibwana, Governor Mutua, Professor Makau, all those people, especially those from Mukambani, if they sincerely want Raila to win, to become the president, then they should know that the right candidate to support Raila is Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka.
Okay, one thing, Mike, is that it's quite interesting because we've not seen leaders from Mount Kenya seriously and pushing for a running mate from Mount Kenya, more so the ones aligned to Azimio la Umoja. We've not seen them pushing for a running mate position. All they're saying that we are behind Raila Odinga and we'll make sure that we'll deliver the votes to Raila Odinga, but we've never seen them pushing so hard for the running mate position. Perhaps, are we able to conclude that Mount Kenya leaders have made peace with themselves that this time around it's not ours and it's going somewhere else, probably silently?
Mount Kenya is aware that they will not have a president in 2022.
That's they're aware?
They are aware.
Right.
Because they do not have a presidential candidate that they can say is coming from Central that amounts to even being near a deputy governor. They don't have a deputy president. They don't have that. And they always know this ahead of time, before general election. We saw the Speaker Muturi trying to, run and seize the occasion, but it was too late into the game. He was very comfortable for a very long time, and when he realized that there was a huge vacuum, he tried it, but it was too late. And by the time he was out there, the only thing he could do was to join Kenya Kwanza.
Yes.
That, to me, is a hypocrisy that is in Central Province as well. Central Kenya, if you look at it today, yes, they are saying that they want a deputy governor, a deputy president. But who amongst them will want to be a deputy president while one of their top civil servants and politician, and that is Speaker Muturi, runs to Kenya Kwanza? That to me is a sign that indeed, however much you may want, Honorable Raila Odinga may want votes from Central region, he will not amount to more than 30%. The highest perhaps he can go is up to 35%. In fact, there's some analysts that are saying a mere 15% is probably what he will get there. Now, the question therefore we need to ask, Victor, is that enough for you to get the deputy president? Is that enough for you to decide that the deputy president goes to Central Kenya? We know for a fact that Central Kenya, majority of them are going to vote for the deputy president, for the presidency. Now, let me come to the reality. The reality is these people normally speak with one voice, except some few people.
Yeah.
The president might go out there and seek their blessing and seek their support, but it will also be too late. Remember that the president has promised to campaign with Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga in central Kenya, I don't know for how many years, and he's never done that. And the question is, why is he not interested in going to campaign for him like he had already promised? I was in Nyeri, and there was a function there for Azimio la Umoja. I had the governor saying, the governor of Nyeri coming out and saying, we don't want the deputy president. We want you to tell us how many CSs are you going to give us? How many PSs are you going to give us? We want you to tell us what you're going to bring to central Kenya. Central Kenya was interested in one man, one vote, 1 shilling, because they know that it's a huge population. And for that reason, 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling will make a huge difference to them, not the deputy president. And for that reason, I really think Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga need to look elsewhere other than Central Province for the deputy president if he really, really means well for the voter and for the voters either in Eastern to come out in big number, including costs. And remember that the Kambas are not just in Eastern and costs. The Kambas are also in Nairobi here. In fact, they make a lot of decisions, and they've been really supportive of the quest for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga presidency. In fact, if you look at the people that have been on the street every Monday, when we were having demonstrations here, it was the Kambas, the Luyas, the Luos, and some few other communities like the Kisis. They were the people who decided that change had to be done in this country. And for that reason, it's important for us to recognize that they fought this fight. So they've died on the cause.
Are we likely to see Mount Kenya still speaking? They're still quiet. They're still waiting for the whistle.
They know that if we were going to look for the votes to bring, basically to say that whoever becomes the deputy president must bring votes, they know that none of them will be able to bring as many votes as probably Wycliffe or Paranya in Western, as probably in Kalonzo Musyoka in the Eastern, and cutting across. Even in Mombasa, they will bring more votes, to Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga as a deputy president if he had one from Mombasa, than even Central, where they're saying they have to. We know for a fact that the deputy president has decided that him is going to get from Central Province. Why has he decided that he's going to get from Central Province, deputy president from Central Province? Because he knows he has votes. More than 50% of those votes will go to the deputy president. You have a right, and you will be allowed to get it. And remember that if the deputy president comes, Victor, the deputy president calls the shot. In our camp, which is Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance, there seem to be many players in this thing. Or you have the president with his council, or you have the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who is running for president, also trying to decide, or you have the campaign committee for Azimio, also trying to get these people, and now you have a select committee. Now, why are we having so many people spoiling the broth for us? And more so for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. I think Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is in his rightful mental capacity to decide who becomes deputy president. Let's not be treated with all these theatrics around here.
So according to you,
taking Kenya
the
for a
select
ride.
committee is just a decoy. It's just a decoy.
It is a decoy.
Okay.
And I agree.
Therefore, come out and say, this is the guy we want, so that you save Kenyans from all these discussions and populating the media with all these individuals' names, instead of looking at what is Raila Amolo Odinga presidency going to do for the country. And I think that's what we need to start hearing, more than individuals that need to occupy positions.
Okay. Thank you so much. Kevin, what's the biggest risk? Raila Odinga deciding and say, waking up in the morning and decides to look another direction apart from Eastern and apart from picking Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate? The biggest risk and danger in clinching the big seat?
Number one, Victor, if Raila bows down to the pressure by some of the Azimio members and refuses to pick Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate, he will have a very great risk of losing the entire Ukambani vote. That is number one. And also Kenyans who believe that a good leader should be in a position to lead this country. Because every Kenyan knows that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is even the best presidential candidate. And Victor, Honorable Raila, I think he's just trying to be democratic and he's trying to accommodate all these views of the constituent parties in Azimio. But just as what Michael has said, Raila has the correct mental capacity to choose his running mate. Yeah, all these things they are doing, wasting time every time his press conference, committees are being formed. I think even you see this notion by Kenya Kwanza that Azimio is just interested in power. That will roll down to the Kenyans and start asking themselves, are these people there to lead us or they are there to get positions? So I think Azimio la Umoja and Honorable Raila and President Uhuru Kenyatta should quickly decide on this issue of running mate and go to the people and campaign. Yeah. I saw the other day President Uhuru Kenyatta's people were saying that the reason why the president has not started campaigning for Raila in Central is because he's waiting for the running mate position to be filled first, and also he's also waiting for the nominations to end, so that he can go there and campaign for his people. So I think nominations have ended. Actually, they are ending today. For those who want to submit their papers as independents, the deadline given by IBC.
Actually, today is the deadline.
Yeah, to political parties to adhere to the 2/3 gender rule. Today is the deadline. So from tomorrow, we should see the president on the campaign trail. And from tomorrow, the issue of Azimio running mate should be resolved immediately. And of course, when you see Wiper people complaining, it's because there's no transparency in how these issues are being handled. They are taking Honorable Kalonzo for a ride. They are trying to portray him as somebody who will go back on his word. Yeah. Because when Honorable Raila, Kalonzo and Uhuru were meeting, and of course when they were forming Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, I'm sure there are things they agreed. Honorable Kalonzo is not out of his mind to demand for something which was not agreed by the three of them. I'm sure the issue of deputy president was agreed between Raila, Uhuru and Honorable Kalonzo. I'm sure it was agreed. Therefore, Victor, also Raila risks a very important chance of portraying to Kenyans that he is a man who can keep his word. Victor, don't forget the NASA fallout. And no, and you remember what Wetangula said about it will be messy, noisy, and all those manner of things. Yes. Raila must be, even Mount Kenya, they don't have full trust in Raila. They think he can fail to keep his word. That's why they want to make sure that one of their person is there as number 2. So for Raila to portray to Kenyans and all his supporters that he's a man who can keep his word, let him pick Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate, because he has said in several occasions that he is willing to support Honorable Kalonzo, and he knows for sure if he is not in a capacity to lead this country, Honorable Kalonzo has the capacity to lead this country.
You know, there's this question here of 2/3 gender rule. Raila is a serious crusader of gender parity. So we have got 3 ladies in the list. We have got Martha Karua, we have got Sabina Chege, and we have Charity Ngilu. What if Raila decides to pick one of the 3 ladies here? We have got Martha Karua, Honorable Sabina Chege, and Honorable Charity Ngilu. Mike, to start with you, what if Raila Odinga decides to pick Martha Karua from Central Kenya and leaves Kalonzo Musyoka from Eastern? What would be the biggest risk and chances?
You know, I said something that when I was in Nyeri, the governor of Nyeri was very categorical. Hatutaki deputy president. Hiyo kitu kidogo. We want to know exactly what you want to give to the people of Central Province. They want to know how many CSS they're going to be given. And not just CSS. What portfolios are you going to give them? They want to know what development you're going to bring to them. They want to know whether distribution or allocation of resources in this country can be equitable to the numbers they have. That's what they're talking about. They're not interested in having a deputy president. But as you've seen, Central Province have actually pushed for the candidacy of deputy president from Martha Karua. And they've done that very systematically to a point where you cannot discuss deputy president without discussing Martha Karua. Is Martha Karua able to bring more votes in Central Province? I said that is questionable in the sense that the number that we have, about 30 to 35% that we already project that might be coming to Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, will not increase by the position of Martha Karua being the deputy president. Charity Ngilu is in the equation, as I said earlier, capable of being the deputy president. Very, very capable. I'm not going to talk about Sabina Chege today. Because Sabina Chege, to me, I think she's just raising her status. She's just raising her bargaining power. She'll be in government because she supported Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and his quest from Central Province. I'm also as one of leaders in Parliament, and she's really supported Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga when many people in Central Province were not interested. I don't think by supporting a mere support of a presidential candidate allows you to amount to a position of the deputy president. The two ladies that I've mentioned, and that is Martha Karua and Charity Ngilu, would stand a better chance to become a deputy president if they were looking for gender. Otherwise, they will still go for that individual that they think the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, wants to be the deputy president. I think it is high time Kenyans know that ultimately, if you give me a deputy president and you coerce me to have a deputy president, if I'm going to run for president, I know I'm going to win, I will accept. But that deputy president will have nothing to do with my government. We've seen what the deputy governors are doing in this country. They are like flower boys and flower girls. They have nothing. We've seen what has happened in the last 5 years between Honorable President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto. It's very difficult for William Samoei Ruto to do anything because the president just said, no, you stay wherever you are. And so do not coerce Raila with the deputy president. And this I say to President Uhuru Kenyatta very clearly. Don't coerce him. Let him decide on who he wants. If he wants somebody from Central Province, let him pick it. And let him pick him at the earliest time possible. If he wants from Eastern, let him pick him. And then he needs to know the next stage you want to do is make sure that now you manage the other ones that you had also had high stakes in that position. Like, the individuals that we've bring them on the table and say, this is the decision I've made. But look, gentlemen, this is the position I have for you, and we'll make sure that you get it, so that they all support you.
When you say that, it's now open that President Kenyatta is going to be the patron of One Kenya, Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance. He's the patron, meaning at the topmost decision-making organ of that arrangement, he'll be there.
Yes.
He'll be calling the shots.
I agree.
And he's bringing the Jubilee brigades with him to...
Victor, I tell you, if they want this coalition to break within the next 6 months after the president of Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, let them force him with all these positions. Because they say, but you guys forced me.
Okay.
By that time, it will be the president of the Republic of Kenya. This is not a secret. But everybody is discussing this.
Somebody would argue, Mike and Kevin, somebody would argue that from what we've seen between President Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, at some point, people would argue that the aspect of respect between the two was completely lost long time ago. The president would say this, the next 1 hour you'd see the lieutenants of the other side of deputy president answering the president directly to his face. The aspect of friendship disappeared. So what's the importance of having this committee, first of all, if at all there is? What's the importance of having this committee? The issue of age gap between Raila Odinga and his running mate, can it also be a factor to be considered? All right? And the fact that Raila Odinga, with his age as well, you'd want somebody who's quite energetic, but the issue of friendship, the way it used to be, the bromance between the deputy president and President Kenyatta, the bromance which was there, some people would argue that they came into power as friends. They were relatively young and, moving forward, walizoyana, so to speak. At the end of the day, they missed the point of the respect is there, the respect disappeared, and they lost control all of a sudden. Question number one. The issue of age, numbers, and credibility in the eyes of Wananchi. How does it play out in picking the running mate? Kevin?
Victor, all those factors you have mentioned are key factors which will now guide any serious presidential candidate in picking their running mate. if you begin with the issue of gender, for example, which you had earlier asked,
yes,
and you see Honorable Raila, and we agree, and even Honorable Kalonzo and Honorable Uhuru, they all believe in the gender balance. And you saw in the BBI, that was a key thing which was proposed in the BBI.
Yeah.
They even went to an extent of even saying that in the BBI that if a governor is a male, a deputy should be a female.
Yes.
So that's an important thing. But let's also be alive to the fact that this gender card is being used by Central Kenya to speak of in trying to ensure that one of their person is there. And that's why they were pushing for Mother Karua. And you even saw in the first meeting of they are calling themselves as the Mio Women League, where Honorable Charity Ngilu also endorsed Mother Karua. Of course, under the umbrella of trying to say that no, the running mate must come from Mount Kenya. So it's just a card being played politically. The first question you should ask,
Charity Ngilu fronting Mother Karua at the same time. Her name is on the list.
Exactly. Right. And actually her name was forwarded to the list late. Yes. Right. And that's why we saw Senator of Kitui Kwambua questioning that, because they were supposed to forward their names by Thursday 5 p.m. Her name was forwarded on Friday. Why? And it was accepted. Anyway, the issue of age, for example, and you know, Victor, is an important issue, we agree. But even before we look at any other issue, let's ask ourselves, was that candidate who is being proposed by any political party to be running mate, was he or she in the first place interested in becoming the president of this country? Let's begin there. Was Honorable Mother Karua from the first place interested in becoming the president of this country? The answer is no. She was campaigning for governor of Kirinyaga. Charity Ngilu, in the first place, was she interested in becoming the president of this country? No. Peter Kenneth? No. Sabina Chege? No. Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka? Yes. This is somebody who, in the first place, was interested in leading this country. And he had all machineries in place to ensure that he wins the presidency. And when coalitions, Victor, are being formed, they are formed to ensure that the members of that coalition achieve their agenda of winning the elections. So if Raila wants to win this election, he needs somebody who has the energy and the drive to win this election, not somebody who is just being pushed there for other reasons. Mother Karua, we all know, she's being pushed there to ensure that Mount Kenya has a person. And I agree with Michael on the fact that Raila needs somebody who he can work with. You know, Uhuru and Ruto, we know, 2013, 2017, they were able to work together for their own common interest. 2017, after they won, Ruto now wanted to become president. Uhuru wants to ensure that he has legacy. We all know that. Kalonzo and Raila, we know they have worked together before. Yeah, they worked in 2002 in that grand coalition government. Of course, there were issues because Kalonzo was defending President Kibaki when Raila and his team, because now they were saying they had won the elections, were on this other side. Yeah, in 2013 they have been together. 2017 the same, they have been together. We believe, and we have never had Kalonzo. You know, Kalonzo is a leader who respects authority. When he was working for President Kibaki from 2007 to 2008 to 2013, you have never heard him disrespecting the president. He was there assisting the president, unlike Deputy President Ruto, who has been abusing the president. So I believe, Victor, as much as we look at the creation of this committee, and we all know that it has been politically created, we all know that, the meeting at KCC where they said, oh, it's okay, this issue of running mate, let's form a committee to ensure that it advises the presidential candidate. The issue of friendship and numbers, we all know that between all these candidates, between Mother, between Gilu, and between Karua and Sabina and Kalonzo and Raila have been together for a long time. They are friends. What is happening now is just politics, whereby each person is fighting for their own cause. Kalonzo, of course, has the right to fight for his cause. So they are friends. Kalonzo has numbers. We all know that. You have seen what the entry of Governor Sonko has done in Mombasa. Right. They all know that Wiper there may even deliver that seat. That's why you can see Mombasa leaders are fighting Sonko on all manner of issues. So I believe, Victor, any serious presidential candidate must choose a serious deputy presidential candidate. And you have seen also in Kenya Kwanza, they have also been considering Mudavadi.
Yeah.
Because they know Mudavadi has been having the urge to seek presidency, and he has roots countrywide. But of course, you have also seen that they are keenly ensuring that they get somebody from Mount Kenya.
All right.
Therefore, so as to avoid all these manner of fights, I think Azimio, and this is my humble advice to them, let them not sort their issues in the public. Yeah, if you see, because Kalonzo is a serious partner, principal in Azimio.
Okay.
You see people, the likes of Sabina Sheikh, going to live television and talking all manner of things about Kalonzo. That is disrespect. You see people like the Narok senator going to media and speaking, oh, have you heard Kalonzo, or is people disrespecting Raila or President Uhuru? So I think it's high time that we only have 3 months to the election. And if we really want to win this election,
yes,
Raila and Uhuru and Kalonzo, they must call their troops. And I agree with Michael that Raila, Uhuru and Kalonzo, they should sit down, resolve this issue of running mate and all other issues,
and, okay,
even poor sharing.
And even you know where Raila's heart is.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Let's take a break, and when we come back, I want us to talk about the issue of the independent candidates. It's a serious issue and something that probably we never saw coming. And how is it going to be? Give me a picture of all the houses, the Senate, National Assembly, the county assemblies, how it would look like a day or a week after the August 9th general election. We're taking a break. When we come back on the last segment of Eye on Politics after this. Welcome back. It's time for us now to shift gears and talk, the deadline for independent candidates to submit their names is today, all right? So just to get to the bottom of the issue, how is it going to look like, starting with you, Kevin, with all the independent candidates? It's nobody saw this coming, but the number shot up, probably painting a picture of the kind of, many of the aspirants were not satisfied, probably by the whole result, or, the desire to get it to the peak. IBC probably did not see this coming.
Actually, IBC and also political parties, because when you talk of 7,213 independent candidates countrywide, and you talk of 47 independent candidates who are seeking presidential candidates, talk of 107 governor candidates, talk of 973 MP candidates who are independent, MCS 5,900. That's a very big number.
Yeah.
And I think we can attribute this to how the party nominations were conducted, number one. Because you have seen consensus has been employed by so many political parties. Maybe in those consensus, several candidates were not satisfied, or maybe several candidates had the reason to believe that they will not be preferred. Because if you talk of, you can't compare party loyalty to popularity. Because many of these political parties were looking at party loyalty.
Party loyalty, popularity, right?
Forgetting to look at popularity. And you may be shocked to see many independent candidates winning these seats. And under Article 38 of the Constitution, every Kenyan has the right to participate in an election. And Victor, that's why I came with my constitution today, because I want to defend these people. When you see IBC coming up with unreasonable conditions and restrictions, it is worrying. Article 81 or that 83. 3C is very clear that every adult citizen has the right, without unreasonable restriction, to be a candidate for public office or office within a political party of which the citizen is a member, and if elected to hold office. IBC has bring this, according to me, it is very unreasonable, asking a candidate to give a copy of ID of all the people who have nominated them for that position is unreasonable. If, for example, a presidential candidate needs 48,000 people to nominate him, you expect that candidate to attach IDs of those 48,000 people. A governor needs 2,000, a senator needs 2,000, an MP needs 1,000, an MCA 500 signatures, and now they need all those photocopies. I have keenly looked at the Elections Act, Victor, Article 32 and 33. I've also looked at the Political Parties Act, which has been amended, Article 33. Look at Article 99 of the Constitution. There is nowhere where that requirement has been clearly stipulated. Why is IBC being unreasonable? And it is very suspicious because after Honorable Musalia Mudavadi created this suspicion that all these independent presidential candidates are there to be used by Azimio to steal elections from Kenya Kwanza. I think after that statement is when we saw IBC issuing these restrictions. I think it is high time for every Kenyan citizen to be given the right to participate in an election.
Even if these candidates, because the verification process is also there.
Exactly.
You have about 48,000, even the collection of the signatures itself and getting the photocopies. You'd imagine if you went to the village and you know, had the photocopies and then somebody gets transferred to a different side of the country. How do you get the numbers?
And why is IBC changing the rules of the game halfway or too late in the game? In 2013, 2017, they did not ask for copies of those IDs. Even when the BBI signatures were submitted, did they ask for those copies of the IDs? Why are they doing this now? So I think all those candidates, and I'm happy that my senior Michael is also an independent candidate, I think they have the right to be protected by the law. And believe you me, Victor, I'm even willing to offer pro bono legal services for them. Because you see, you can't prevent someone. The way Michael is looking at pro bono is coming. Yes, you can't prevent someone from participating in an election. The burden of ensuring that the candidates are nominated by people who have consented is on the IBC. If maybe, for example, IBC in their verification identifies that somebody's name was put there and they don't consented, then let IBC carry that burden. But don't force somebody to go, and those persons know they have no financial muscle. Of course, for a political party, they have resources and they have facilities countrywide. They have, of course, the party register whereby there are copies of IDs, they can do that. But now, this is somebody who is an independent candidate. You want them to go to the village and you see, they have been told that, I think, one day ago. So how do you expect them to do that? So I think, and Article 10 of the Constitution just say that for you to be an independent candidate, you should not be a member of any political party, and you should have resigned from any political party 3 months ago. I'm sure today, being the 9th of May, is 3 months to the general election. If somebody has resigned by today and they have submitted their symbol and their name, they qualify. Issue of now them annexing the IDs of the people who have nominated them, I think it's an unreasonable restriction being imposed by IBC. And number 3, Victor, the reason why we are seeing all these large number of independent candidates is because it's a constitutional right for you to participate in elections. And if you have all the reason to believe that this party will not advance your agenda, you have the right to participate in that election. And believe you me, in the next parliament, or the next group of leaders, you will see that many of them will be independent candidates. And of course, you're also seeing some of them saying, I am independent, Wiper, or independent, or DM. They are trying to also say they are aligned to these political parties which are popular in their region. So I think for there to be democracy, let IBC uphold the rights of these candidates. And also, of course, I agree, Victor, that also proper verification must be done to avoid unnecessary burden on the electorate.
Because Michael is here and he is running as an independent candidate. Michael, have you met the required procedure and requirements by the IBC yourself?
Great. Thank you so much for asking me that question.
This is on behalf of all the independent candidates across the country, of course.
I am an independent candidate in Dewa Parliamentary. I'm asking Dewa people to vote Michael Agwanda because of his track record, but not because of the party or because that I came with independent. One of the requirements, a few requirements that the independent candidates are asked to meet is, one, you should have resigned from your political party. If you are in any political party they are in previously. Then you need to proceed to the registrar of political parties, and you need to get a clearance from them, a letter showing that you want to run as an independent candidate to the IEBC. But before that, you also must present your symbol to the political party, the office of political party, and then for your symbol, so that they say this symbol doesn't look like any other symbol, whether political party or any other independent. Upon which then you proceed to IBC and apply to be a candidate and for whatever position you want to. This deadline though has passed. I think it passed on the 2nd of this month. That means you can't now register as an independent political party. For those that met the criteria, they were awarded the certificate to show that they will run as an independent candidate, and their names will be published in the Kenya Gazette around between 14th and 15th of this month, to show that they are candidates in respective positions and in respective areas where they've come from. But as my friend here has said, Kevin, that there's a requirement that for parliamentarians, or if you're running for parliament, you as an independent candidate, you're required to have at least 1,000 signatures. Yes. And in addition to that, you must have photocopies of those 1,000 signatures. What I want to tell Kevin is there was a meeting. I had a meeting with one of the party leaders of small parties in this country, and he told me that they had a concern that there was going to be an upsurge. There was a possibility of an upsurge of an independent candidate, and as a result of that, they went to IBC and also the Office of Registrar of Political Parties and argued their case out. And these are the cartels we have around here, and they said for us to benefit, let's make it harder for independent candidates not to get to be endorsed. Why? And the reason why they were saying that is so that they could have party memberships, switching from one party to the other, and instead they can benefit from the nomination fee, they can benefit from membership fee, they can benefit from, if they are elected into various positions, from subscription fee. And so they lobbied so that these conditions are made difficult specifically for the independent candidates. What they did not foresee is an agreement that there was a change of law in Parliament that was going to allow a 4-month window period for somebody to move from one party to the other, and upon which there was another 1 month that was extended for people now to move from their respective parties, not to switch to other parties, but to move as independent.
Perhaps political parties did not anticipate this one.
They never anticipated that. And so the individuals got a window of opportunity to say, look, if I cannot cross to these parties, as they had lobbied and hoping that the people will cross to other parties after the nomination, they said the only window which they blocked in Parliament was now to cross to independent. Yes. Victor, 7,200 plus, still counting, registered independent aspirant in this country. You know what that means?
That is even bigger than the elected and nominated members of Parliament and MCS combined.
Let me give you the numbers why any presidential candidate will be interested in this independent candidate. One is because for specific areas like Rift Valley, they say, I'm independent, but I'm supporting William Ruto for president. When you go to Central, when you go to Western and Nyanza, they will say, I am independent, but I'm supporting Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for president. When you go to Coast, you'll hear people saying, I am independent, but I'm supporting Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for president. In other words, these people are saying, we are pledging allegiance to you as our president, because there seem to be only two front runners. But they are saying that in terms of the locals voting, let them vote a leader that they think is the right leader,
and not for the party. Not a party.
Do you know why that is important?
Yes.
7,200 people multiplied by 100. 100 votes only. We are hoping that each of them can only gain 100. That is 720,000 votes. Every presidential aspirant in this country wants that vote. 7,000 people, 7,200 people, multiplied by just 1,000. Remember that there's also very credible candidates that might get over 50,000, especially the ones that are in the county. 50,000 for one person. Times just 1,000, 7.2 million votes
From the independent candidates alone.
We are talking about millions of votes. About 200, just multiply that by 500. 500 per candidate, and they can win. They can at least get 500 per candidate. That is 3.7 million votes. You'll be a deaf if you're a presidential aspirant and you're not listening to these independent candidates, because this independent candidates is the next big party. And you know what? He alluded to it a little bit. It is because of the errors you did in the nomination. That's why people are annoyed. And I think the electorate are saying we cannot be taken for granted anymore.
You've spoken about something that perhaps if somebody is keen enough, then should run away with this. Somebody should form a party of independent candidates. Independence Party of Kenya. Just speaking, Independence Party of Kenya.
Too late.
Too late. All right. You can imagine, Kevin, when you go to the ballot on that particular day, 9th of August, exactly 3 months from now, and you have got all the independent candidates, filling the forms. You look at the MCAs. You look at the member of county, members of parliament and senators, as well as governors, save for the presidency. But then now, the kind of picture that's being portrayed in our democracy, having all these independent candidates, 7,000 plus. This is a big test to the political parties, one, the party transparency in conducting their nominations, and the level of, so to speak, the strength of political parties at the grassroots level, down there. Give me a picture of how the assemblies would look like after 9th of August.
Actually, and taking a lead from Michael.
Yes.
On the ideology or on the narrative that these independent candidates use, is that they associate themselves with the popular presidential candidate or popular governor candidate, so that they can win, because all they want is to win. Their interest is to win. Now, if we form the next government, and for example, maybe we say either Raila or Ruto wins, and the person who wins has lesser members of National Assembly than the person who has lost. They need the support of the independent candidates in running the government. You will see a situation whereby these independent candidates will either be used by the opposition leader,
right,
or the sitting president. The sitting president can lobby and buy or maybe get the support of all of them and be able to comfortably govern and lead the country. Or the opposition leader, if he manages to get all their support, they can frustrate the sitting president. And it's a very big issue, political issue, which has arisen simply because, of course, Kenya, we are a democracy. And people have the right, Article 38, people have the right to participate in this election process.
So
they have the right.
So the force of independent candidates should never be wished away.
It should not be wished away, and I agree with Michael's analysis.
Yes.
These candidates have a following. They have a great following. And of course, some, also vie for other interests. Maybe some are planted there by a particular candidate so that they can dilute the voter base there. Others have a strong following. Anybody who will underrate Governor Kidero in Homa Bay will be making a big political mistake by ODM. Because you can't underrate him. And if Raila, for example, goes to Homa Bay and campaigns for Wanga and fails to recognize Kidero, there may be a little bit of fallout, even though Siaya is stronger voter base. Therefore, these independent candidates are posing a significant contribution to our current politics. And they also need, and I know maybe the reason why those smaller parties rush to IBC, they need to be managed as well. Because it's an error. Before there were very few independent candidates. But now with the large number, and even our RPP is not even able to also manage all these people. I don't know how they make sure that a symbol has not been used twice, for example. You see some coming with very funny symbols, just anything, which so long as it does not look like a symbol of another candidate or party, it is used. Are there laws to govern or regulations to govern these symbols? Some can be abusive. Some can be divisive. Some of these symbols can be can also create a scenario of a possible conflict. If somebody, for example, puts a panga as their symbol, if that symbol is construed otherwise by other people. So I think as these political issues emerge, law should also be enacted to govern, because it is true this independence must be regulated. There must be proper law, and if Parliament wishes, they can have Independence Candidates Act, which now should manage how they should operate. And I agree with you, somebody can take advantage of these independent candidates and call them a party. Of course, there is no way they can become a party, but they can form their own coalition. They can form their own coalition. They can form their own coalition. And also, there's another question, Victor.
Yes.
And so many, and I've been able to be, I've been asked these questions by so many candidates, is whether can, for example, a presidential candidate nominate an independent candidate to be their running mate? Another question is, can a governor candidate nominate an independent candidate to be their running mate? You see, the law is not protecting independent candidates, because, you know, what the law says is that a president and the deputy president or the deputy governor must have the same qualification as the president or governor in that matter. So if somebody is an independent, what happens to that person? And this governor or presidential candidate has the right to nominate anybody. But you see, the law puts a scenario whereby for you to be a running mate, you must be in the same party or in the same coalition as that particular candidate. So you can't,
so a president cannot pick an independent candidate.
Maybe there is a stronger independent candidate here, but the law is barring that person from being nominated. And you see, independent candidates cannot enter into coalitions. Also, the law must be amended appropriately to ensure that also independent candidates can participate in coalitions, because they also have their own following and they have their own right as Kenyans to fully participate in the election process.
All right, these are discussions that I will want us to talk about sometimes next week, because this week the verification process will begin today after the deadline, the verification process, and you know, the date of submission ends today for all the independent candidates, and it's going to be an interesting week as far as that is concerned. But Michael, I want to give you, actually we are running out of time, but I want to give you just 1 minute. Now that you are an independent candidate and you are on line of the crossfire, that particular day, 9th of August, and you find your name on the ballot, and you find your name taking that oath that you swear, and so help me God. Give me a picture on how people of your constituency will be.
Let me start by saying that the law that you're talking about will not be made until August 9th, when there will be so many parliamentarians, so many senators, even governors and county assembly representatives being in those houses. That's when the law will be done. Two, I had somebody saying, I'll say it very quickly, I had somebody saying that if you're an independent candidate, you are an enemy of our Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Who said that? Those are very selfish, egocentric individuals. Raila Amolo Odinga needs the votes of every Kenyan, even those that are not within his party. In fact, now he's depending on Jubilee to get some of the votes for him. So you cannot say that an independent now ceases to be an important person for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. He needs everybody to vote for him. On that day, on the 9th, and I know I won in the nomination, and that is how I moved to independent. And my nomination was given to an incumbent member of parliament. I have facts to that. I took him to the tribunal and we went through this. I know the numbers I got. That is why then there were people told me, come back, we will give you the votes and not the party for that reason. That day we will prove to the world that for the first time in this country, Kenyans are deciding to elect their own, not people that are appointed by party cartels. And I am saying this with great authority. In these cases, it is not Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that rigged an election, an election in the primary. It is the cartels that were given money by aspirants and they decided to look the other way and left the popular candidates. It will be a proof and a vindication for those that have been saying that the independents are there just to serve their interests. The people will show parliamentarians that Kenyans can decide. They will show the Senate that Kenyans can decide through the independent candidate. And I know I will win. They will give me their votes and we will win. And we will now form a coalition and change this constitution so that everybody that is allowed to run will be allowed to run without being victimized as an independent candidate.
Final word from Michael Agwanda, aspirant in your constituency, an independent candidate, as well as political analyst for now, all right? There were people, you have him, you heard it, what he said on the show, as well as Wakili.
But an advice to IBC.
Yes.
They should ensure that...
My director is saying I'll pay the bills myself.
No, I'm saying IBC should ensure that there is proper civic education. Because with all these long list of candidates in the ballot, people may be confused on who to elect. I think between now and maybe June, July, there should be proper civic education on how the voting process will be done.
Absolutely. Yes, that's a word from Wakili. And of course, we thank you, our viewer, for your valid company. We do appreciate that is Michael Agwanda, political analyst, as well as independent candidate in your constituency and advocate of the High Court. We have got Katisya. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making it to the show.
Thank you.
And even you, as our viewer, for being a part of this particular show. We are taking a break, but hatujamaliza. Yes, the show still continues after this break. Stay with us.